continuing our tour across the NFL. Today it's the NFC East. And so intriguing because the Cowboys have finally moved on from Jason Garrett, ending a decade in Big D. In comes Mike McCarthy, and they are the odds-on favorite in the division, -105, 6-1 to win the NFC, 13-1 to host the Lombardi Trophy. Hadn't been done since the 90s with the Cowboys. All right, Preston, the win total is 10. You liked this on this very program when it was 9.5 a while ago. How do you feel at 10?
I did. I guess we shouldn't be surprised that a public team like the Cowboys got bet up from 9.5 to 10. And it was surprising that I showed value at 9.5 and we liked it. It was even plus money. Now the 10 is -110. So you're having to lay the VIG. I know people are going to say, well, if you love 9.5, like you should still like 10 anyways. It's just not the case. It's not how it works when you're breaking down the numbers and the percentages and the probabilities when you're betting. The difference between 9.5 and 10 is pretty significant. I have the Cowboys actually going 10-6 just over 11% of the time this season. So now if they go 10-6, that 11% of the time, we're no longer winning our bet. We're pushing, we're giving it back. And again, it was plus money before at 9.5. Now we're laying -110. And I have to just stay away. I know people think that's kind of a lame cop-out answer at this point, but the value is gone, whether it be division, Super Bowl, everything else. I think the Eagles are going to be competitive as well, so I'm just passing on Dallas.
I like the Cowboys at -250 to go to the playoffs. We've talked about it in the past. Extra wild card team. Now, that translates to 71% chance. I think they have a better chance. Loaded offense. Preston, you've talked about offense coordinator Kellen Moore, still with Dak Prescott. They get CeeDee Lamb in the draft. I just think they'll be so explosive. I think they'll win the division. I think the best team in the division, but I think it's a nice cushion there at -250. Anita, your thoughts on Dallas?
Yeah, listen, I'm with Preston. I think Vegas has it right now. I think they're going to win 10 games. If by chance anything happens and it goes up to 10.5, I'm going to take the under. Doug, you mentioned new head coach in McCarthy. You know, I'm giving a lot of weight this season on continuity. They don't have it. Little Dak drama right now because of his contract issues. And in their schedule, the first 3 games, they're on the West Coast. 2 of their first 3 games traveling during a pandemic with an expected short preseason. So I'm staying away from this, but if it does jump up, I'll take the under.
Yeah, that Dak drama will certainly be interesting to monitor between now and the season. Let's switch gears to the Eagles now. Win total right there as well at 9.5, favored to go to the postseason at -190. They are the second favorite in the division at +115. Anita, you've been big on this Philly team for the entire offseason. Feed us.
Yeah, I love it. Give me the over on win totals at 9.5. I think they're going to win the division. Don't be surprised if they represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Don't be surprised if they win the Super Bowl. Schedule-wise, their first 3 games are going up against opponents that did not make it to the postseason. Little concern after Week 9, that Week 9 bye. Their last 7 games, 5 of them they're on the road. However, man, they improved this team in free agency, bringing in Darius Slay. I like what they did in the draft. I know a lot of people don't, but I do. I think Jalen Reagor is going to impress a lot of people, especially in that wide receiving core. Carson Wentz, I think he's poised to have a great season. Love him potentially maybe winning the MVP. And we've been talking about the coaching staff. I know I harp on this. Continuity is going to be a key and a huge factor this season. So I think all the stars align properly for this Eagles team to really make a statement this year. And I love them across the board.
Yeah, I'm kind of against you here, Anita. Now, it's not my favorite play, but I'm actually would take the value and the plus money on the no to miss the playoffs. I've just talked a little bit ago about how much I'm a big backer of the Cowboys. I've been sort of disappointed with this Eagles team, and we always seem to find excuses. Last year or a couple years ago when Wentz was the MVP, let's call him front runner, he goes down with a knee injury. But then the subsequent years, they've just been off. And I don't know if it's missing Frank Reich, who was the former OC, but nothing seems to click. I know they had ravaged with injuries last year, but they also won their last 4 games to get into the playoffs. It was the beginning of the year when I was a little skeptical. Just when they were healthy, they lose to Detroit at home. They lose to the lowly Dolphins on the road. I feel like they can never quite get it together, whether it's receiving issues. So I'm going to just take a chance here. It's not my favorite play, but I would grab the plus money to miss the playoffs. Preston, anything stand out to you?
There's a prop, and Anita mentioned Carson Wentz, big year. I tend to agree. It's intriguing. The passing yards, 3,944.5. I like the over. You might remember a year ago, Louis Riddick came into the Daily Wager studios He picked Wentz to win the MVP. Now, don't bash him because the year before he picked Patrick Mahomes, and that did come to fruition. But last year, what happened? I mean, there was obviously validation for him and reasoning for him wanting to back Wentz. It had to do with the reports he was getting from coaches, other players, they were seeing in camps. And then Doug was playing receiver for the Eagles for about 12 weeks, and Wentz had no one to throw to, and he still went over the total anyways. And that's because he played 16 games. And I know a lot of these props end up being, will the guy be injured? Will he not be injured? If Wentz is healthy for at least 14, but maybe 15 plus for sure, this is a no doubter over with the weapons that should be healthier than they were a year ago. I like the passing yards, and I like Carson Wentz.
There are definitely tiers in this division, and one notch below are the New York Giants. Win total of 6. No minus 480 in regards to the postseason. 50-1 long shots to win it all in the first year without Eli Manning. He is officially retired. Now, I'm going under 6 here. Look, I think the offense is going to be a lot of fun. I think they're shored up their offensive line issues, all things considered. They have Saquon Barkley. Receivers will be healthy. I'm just not sold on Daniel Jones. And on top of that, the schedule is brutal. Home dog on Monday night against the Steelers, and then they just have to face teams like the Rams, Bears, Niners within the division. Obviously, they get the Redskins at home at some point, but 7 wins to lose this bet. Yeah, at the Bengals, but is at the Bengals necessarily a win? I think it's going to be one of those times where they're going to be a lot of home dogs by like 4 to 5.5 points, and they're going to need to eke out more wins than I think they can handle. So I'm going to take the under 6 wins there with the Giants. Anita, you're very plugged into the G-men. What's your outlook here?
Yeah, I mean, a few things. I think they'll be lucky if they start the season 1-4. I have them going 0-5. Let me list them for you. Starting off against the Steelers, and they have to travel to Chicago at the Bears, 49ers, West Coast at the Rams, and then the Cowboys. I think this is going to be a first start season for Joe Judge. I'm with you. I think the under is the best bet here.
And we round out the division with the Washington Redskins. 5 is their season win total. If you don't think they're going to the playoffs, we got to lay 1,200 on that one. 22-1 just to win the division. 150-1 to win it all. All right, Preston, where do you stand with the Skins here?
This one might surprise you a little bit, and I'm not just trying to get on Matthew Berry's good side, but I like the over 5 wins. First and foremost, you look at last season. I know it was a disaster, but they only won 3 games. You look at the underlying metric, their Pythagorean expected wins based on their points scored, points allowed. They played and performed more like a 4-win team. So the question is now, in year 2 of Dwayne Haskins, Robert Rivera, an upgraded coach, taking over. Year 2 of Terry McLaurin, who PFF graded the 7th best receiver in all of football as a rookie last year. Can they improve by a game for a push, or 2 or more games and wins to cash this? I think so. I have this team finishing 6-10 more frequently than any other result. And remember, 5-11 is still just a push anyway. At 5, I got to go over.
All right, so you may be on Matthew Berry's good side. You're on my bad side, Preston, because I actually like the other side.
Good.
Look, I just think the schedule is brutal. I think there are potential wins on the schedule. If they were playing some teams at home, they have to go at Arizona, at Detroit. So things like that, even at Cleveland, they could kind of get some W's. They may not be favored till week 11 when they host Cincinnati, maybe at home to the Giants, but I just don't think they have the horses. So I got to go under, because I don't think 6 wins they get there any at all in DC. What about you, Anita?
Oh boy. All right. I can't be Switzerland, can I? I'm going under here. Again, new head coach Ron Rivera. He's trying to implement that 4-3 defense. That's going to take a hot second. I do like the defensive line. I don't necessarily like the offensive line, and I'm not sold on Dwayne Haskins. So, Dougie, I'm with you. I've got to go under here.
Anita, Preston, stay safe out there, and more football talk coming up later this week.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.